Good morning, my name is Chetan Sareen. This is my student ID and I will be presenting my case study analysis on the Blackberry Hill farm today. The agenda of my presentation would be looking at Blackberry Hill farm's pestle analysis, Blackberry Hill farm's strengths and weaknesses, how it can cope up with the fluctuating demand, its operations process and capacity, and also a few recommendations on the new proposed business options. Starting with the pestle analysis is basically a collective of all the external impacts on the business, that is political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Political impacts and legal impacts are interlinked and almost identical and work as a governance under which the business operates with different rules, regulations, and laws. Economic refers to the strength of the local market economy and purchasing power of its consumer in that particular area. It also refers to the availability of resources such as skilled labor and utility cost. Moving on, in pest analysis, we look at social and technological impacts. The social impacts refers to the provision of jobs, education and training. The Blackberry farm has a major impact on the locality, being one of the major employers in the area. It also supports the cross-culture environment as the farm management welcomes all walks of people to work at their farm. When it comes to technology aspect, the Blackberry farm is not so advanced as there are many issues which were outlined in the case study, which refers to the positioning of machinery, crowd management, parking management, and layouting of equipment, which were in places not idealistically placed. Looking at environmental impacts, these are the impacts which refers to the climatic conditions of the place and also seasonality scenarios of a locality. It also measures the carbon footprint and emissions in and around a locality. If the business is operated as per the laws cover the business from any sort of property theft, intellectual property theft, and protect the owners' copyrights and patents, as every business is legally binded. Looking at the major strengths of the farm, it has a home market with monopoly. It is one of the major producers within the given area and has a lot of residential localities around it and has a lot of footfall during the season. Hence, there is a demand within its own market. It has a close proximity, as I mentioned. It has a low human resource and production cost as they majorly produce their own fresh produce and have people on casual basis working for them as and when they are required. It is an inherited business and provides good skills because it's been operated within the family since many years. Another strength we look at is the monopoly of the Blackberry brand preserves. There is no other competition as such mentioned in the case study. The main revenue generators are visitor and production activities that makes them the strength of the business, and it has multiple product segmentation, which is something for everyone from starting from kids to the old age segment. They have activities which interest all age groups. Moving forward, looking at the major weaknesses, as it's a farming agricultural business, it is highly volatile to season. It has a limited market and fluctuated demand. As I mentioned, it's volatile due to being seasonal, so the demand also fluctuates with the favorable and unfavorable seasonal conditions. Staff management, they have local people and who come and work for them, and there's a lack of proper skilled and educated workforce. Also, as it's family run, so the owners are responsible for all aspects of the business. They need to have a proper organizational structure. Their weaknesses is crowd management. As it's mentioned, there are a lot of queues, issues at different services and locations within the farm. It's a complex operation as there are multiple services and activities going around at the same time, and it is not well balanced when it comes to managing the crowd and the capacity of that service. There are issues with the layouting as mentioned in the case study, and that needs to be figured out with putting little more automation to it. Moving forward, we'll see how the farm can cope up with the demand fluctuations. There are three types of the demand. There are four different Now we'll look at how the BlackBerry Farm Hill can cope up with its demand fluctuations. There are four steps which are listed on this slide, which refers to capacity measurement, forecast, measure demand, demand management plan. There are three types of capacity, and this one is a design capacity we are referring to. Changing the demand can be achieved through various mediums. Studying customer behavior can help design various packages, discounts, and bundling of services. Farm management needs to forecast customer patterns using historical data and accordingly align its resources to the highest impact area. This will help their property to strategize their staff requirements and the fresh produce required quantities. Within this process, the management will also be able to understand the demand patterns for each product and services as they are highly volatile to seasonality. To manage the demand needs, the management needs to augment its selling strategies with discounts, low seasonal offers, schemes, packages, and service bundling as well, which will yield more revenue for the farm. Let's move on to the operational process and capacity. The three products and services in this presentation are car parking area, tractor rides, and pick your own area. Looking at car parking area, as the large crowds arrive and depart en masse, the parking system needs to ensure fast entry and exit. Additionally, wayfaring and directional signage in a theme park parking system aids guests in finding open spaces more quickly. Use of parking management software allows tracking of vehicles entering and exiting the lots, real-time space available reports, as well as revenue and validation usage tracking. To increase the capacity, the management can look at nearby open spaces to lease to provide extra parking space on a chargeable basis to its customers. Looking at the tractor ride service, that should be only available on booking tours as a process and should be booked in advance. The management should introduce bicycles on rent for hop and off service. This is a more sustainable way of keeping the service intact, which will provide the customers with multiple options and will be cost effective and also will minimize the waiting times. Looking at pick your own area service, this needs to be timely managed. The pickers should be time slotted and needs to be as per the produce of the season. This way, a focused harvesting will help increase the fresh produce grown and which can be useful in reserves, to keep reserves which can be used in high demand season. Let's look at the two new venture options and my recommendations in regards to its feasibility, acceptability, vulnerability, and which option should the farm go ahead with. Looking at the chart, we have two new options, which is Maize Maze and School Room. Maize Maze's feasibility is low and is more complex due to the inadequate resources at the farm, and it's a very short-term business prospect as compared to the School Room. Maize Maze is accepted in other countries and is trending activity. However, they are very different markets and have different requirements of the customers. It is very vulnerable to the seasonal demand as it's climate dependent and can have a very high maintenance cost. Looking at the School Room, it is highly feasible as they have an existing structure to support it. It can be an year-round operation if properly formalized, and can generate revenues at the same time and can bring more brand value to the farm. It has been already accepted as it is collaborated with the National Association Farm for Schools, and according to them, it can be one of the top farming schools in the locality. The ongoing practice of teaching about the history of farming and the current trends is already a practice at the farm. It can be vulnerable towards the main focus of the business, which is farming, and can move its track towards education. My recommendations to the business to go ahead with School Room as a new business venture option by formalizing and creating planned short-term courses which are focused on each product. Further collaborations with certified training institutions and schools. Collaborations and masterclasses on site with known personalities in the field of farming. That'll be all from my side. Thank you so much.